Hi everyone, it's Marco here and welcome to this new video of the virtual orchestration series. Today we are going to see the what's behind my latest track, which you can find on my website here, marcodistefano.art. So the composition is called Fragments. From here you can access the composition in my YouTube channel. First of all, let me show you what I have in, I'm using Vienna Ensemble Pro. So here it is. I have one instance where I have loaded all the different instruments that I have. For example, from alternative Spitfire alternative solo strings. Voila. Then you have all this Spitfire symphonic strings, Spitfire chamber strings, and then I'm using also the new Hans Zimmer strings also, so you see that there are some articulations loaded here. And for the percussions, I'm using Hans Zimmer percussions. If you want to get more information about how I set up my template, please refer to another video which you find on my YouTube channel where I go deep into how this template is set up. Then in Cubase, I have all these tracks, which are actually all the instruments which I'm using. So these are categorized. So all the ones that you see from here below, they are from the standard templates. The ones that you see up here is because I just added them in contact here. So these are not loaded into Vienna Ensemble Pro, and you find them all here. Last thing I want to show you is the mixer. So quickly, you can see that here you have one instrument, one channel on the mixer where there is loaded every instrument. All the instruments then are merged into group channels. For example, one for the symphonic woodwinds, Hans Zimmer strings, symphonic strings, chamber strings, alternative strings, etc. And then still these groups are grouped into two final groups, which is woodwinds and strings. In the case for this composition, I'm not using woodwinds at all. And then I'm having some reverb, which is applied at the level of these groups. And for the final mastering, I'm using mainly Ozone 8. As you can see, also I have some, for the mixing, I'm using some Neutron 2, where I'm doing some very little tweaking on the instruments for the mixing. So, if you don't know the composition, I really suggest you first, before going into this tutorial, that you go and listen to the full composition. So the intro of the composition is given to the piano and to the strings. In this case, I'm using the strings chamber evolutions from Spitfire Audio, which you can listen. So let's put just the piano and some of them. And you can see that I'm using a lot the waves from the Spitfire chamber evolutions. I'm using bass waves, which are mainly these ones. Together with the waves, the chamber waves. And I'm also using this one from Chamber Evolutions, which I set up here with this grid. So you can see that I just pick up the articulations that I want to be played. Let's maybe hear it this alone. All this creates the texture that is on the background where the main voice is given to the piano. Let's hear now all this section, all this part here together with the piano. So then, as you can see here, the waves fades out, and you have the mainly I use the Spitfire chamber strings, which are coming here into the song. Now let's give a look this way. And here maybe there is something interesting to show you, the way I'm using the Spitfire alternative solo strings. So I find this is the first composition I'm using with these instruments, and I found them just beautiful. Okay, so in order to have a realistic sound, of course, you, as we have seen in other videos, you need to use a lot and play a lot with the modulation and expression. In this composition, what I've always also have done is play a lot with the microphones, because depending on the particular and special moment of the composition, I want a particular type of sound. So you can see that also here for the automation, I'm automating the control change 26, 24, 23, and 22 and 22 and 27, which are typically the ones that are assigned to the microphones. So now let's hear only these two. So you see how it is important to create these small curves. This is what gives absolutely realism to the playing. Another thing which is important is the use of the articulations, the different articulations which are provided. And in this case, as you can see, you know, I'm using always expression maps, so I don't have key switches on my articulations. And in this case, I'm mainly using the long. And for this one, similar story, I'm using long. I've been using a lot the long alternative articulations, which we can see a bit later. So now let's hide all the automation and this, and let's listen to the part of the strings. Pizzicato here. Now there is the cello. So you can see that here there is a run. For this run, I've used the instruments for the chamber strings, which have a specific articulation, which I found very realistic when you use it to do runs. Here it is. Look, for example, let's listen to this one only in solo. So in this case here, you can see how many articulations are changing. And it's the same if we go here, for example. You can see also here articulation. So okay, if you want to achieve a very realistic sound, you have really to play a lot with these expression and modulations and vibrato for strings instruments. This is absolutely mandatory. So, and then there is this part here, which becomes a bit a little bit more creepy. For this part, I used the London Contemporary Orchestra violins and the basses and celli. So if you want to listen to this one, this is the I love this. This articulation is called slack soft crescendo, and then there is a basses and celli which are playing this. This is a very eerie sound. So now if we want to just add this, there is also these chamber evolutions. All this together is this. This is the result. Maybe just first I want to show you so this melody here, which is given to the solo strings. So as you can see here, for example, the microphones are getting out, and maybe it's good to show you what happens with the microphones in real time in Vienna Ensemble Voilà, you see, microphones have been disabled. Here it's the tremolo. And of course, a nice fade out. So to listen only what the solo strings do. And now it's time to play all together. Here you have piano, you have the waves, from Chamber Evolutions. And you have the London Contemporary Violins playing harmonics. So let me show you. And here there is the main melody which starts, and at this moment is given to the cello. So it's worth if we give a look at how the cello has been developed in this part. You can see that the long alternative is amazing, beautiful articulations. You have the piano playing on top of this. And then you have the chamber grids, which is doing some moving textures with the violins. The bass part is given to the cello. Cellies from chamber strings and from London Contemporary Orchestra. So this is what they do. Okay, this is a kind of pizzicato. Let's see which articulation is exactly that one. Percussive pizzicato. And for the celli, this is probably staccato. You see that when, for example, you use the short articulations, you have to work with the velocity. So this is very important for Spitfire audio libraries. It's always, almost always like that. So all these things together gives this. And then there is another part which is starts with the piano, and at the beginning is only the piano and the waves from the Spitfire chamber evolutions. So let's just add this so you can hear. So it's very easy actually. Here the harmony is given to the waves, and that they are just replicating the same harmony which is the piano is playing. And here it's interesting to see there is the solo strings, the solo violins cello, which enters and take the lead part. So here, listen to this. Let's first listen only to the string solo. Okay. And on top of that, you have also some elements from the Spitfire chamber strings. Mainly here is the viola. Cello and basses. So let's start this with the piano. And the part that you hear here is a repetition of the beginning of the introduction part, where you will see that there is a different development of the melody and harmony. So, but it starts exactly the same. And here, voila, there is this new element here, which is actually not new because it was already you already listened to this dun 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 in the previous parts. This one. So here you can see that again, like it was before, the harmony is played by the violins here. In this time it's played by the violins in staccato. Still you have all the waves, but actually the ones that you see here with this kind of white, these are muted tracks. Actually these are things which with the time I just removed. They are still here, but they don't play anything. Because I wanted to have a much more rhythmic section here to introduce then the final part, and this is the result. Here is different than the beginning. Here is mainly only the piano and these staccato strings. And to finally introduce the last part of the song, there is this part here, which is played again with all the strings staccato, that then flows into this kind of eerie texture. Here. This is mainly done with the solo instruments, which are playing tremolo. So let's listen to only them. You you can see the crescendo here, and you can also see the continuous change with the microphones which are used. And then there is the final part. So here is also the moment in which the Hans Zimmer strings comes into the song. Let's start with them. So here they are. The first instrument which is introduced is this one, the 24 basses short. Then I'm using the this other instrument which is the cellos short. Let's check which one it is. Is the 60 cellos short. Actually, is 2 times the same, but one is pan to the right and the other is pan to the left. So the result is this. Left, 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 right, left. Then later you have so there is also these other two, which are the 20 violins left and the 20 violins center, which I pan to the right. And again, the result is this. Then we have some more percussive sounds, which is played by cello and basses. Here it is. This is cellos on the galleries, con legno, and 24 basses, con legno. And you have also this one. This is 20 violas wide, short. And for the last part, we have the violins which are playing the main theme here. Voila, this is the automation which is done at the level of the expression and the modulation. On top of that, we have, like in the previous part, the cello which is first playing along the main theme. Which then is taken by the viola and the violin. Still, I have some elements which are in the Hans Zimmer strings, which are also played by the symphonic strings. This one. Let's hear the two together. So So all this together, you can see that creates a huge crescendo, because it all starts with simply the cello and with just some shorts which are played by the Hans Zimmer strings. Then the Hans Zimmer string section grows with more percussive sounds, and then you have the violins, the solo violins and viola, which are playing the same melody as the cello. And then in the third repetition of the theme, you have the melody, the main theme, which is played by the violins of the violins from the Hans Zimmer string. So that really creates a huge crescendo. The last part is about percussion. So let's hear what I created for the percussion with the Hans Zimmer percussions. And this is the final result. I just want to show you that so far I'm running all the instruments you have seen with only 26 gigabyte of RAM, which is quite nice. I have, voila, you can see the processor was quite used at that moment. So I hope that this was interesting. And if you have any question on the composition, something that you would like to discuss, don't hesitate to leave your comments on the video. And I will see you on the next one. Thank you for watching.